Yo, what's the deal? This is the RD Duplevé for the 21 Cent Scope Show, recognizing and realizing what goes on. And what goes on, it's the 21 Cent Scope Show, doing it up like that dare without no fear, giving a damn. And yet, who gives a damn? I still give a damn. And like I said from the other episodes, we need to take you out. A lot of cats been telling me straight up and down, yo, Wassenbeck, man, tell me how you doing, how you been. I see that you got a lot on your mind, and what's on your mind is on my mind. And I agree with a lot of things that you said, but could you give us a little more of what it means to live in a corporate society that sees itself as the end all to be all in a world where the poor are getting poorer and the rich are getting richer, and you and I are left to fight amongst each other for the crumbs that the so-called rich trickles down to us. I was watching this documentary, and the way that this documentary was edited had me wondering, ain't he or wasn't he insane in the brain? And as you can hear, people are still trying to hit me up and tell me that I'm right. But at the end of the day, right, you don't always want to feel right, because at the end of the day, what I just said, we're still fighting amongst each other, you know, putting on a good front to maintain an air of composure within a society that is just too expensive for all of us to live. Yes, we see Black people, minority people, waking up early in the morning, going to work. Before they go to work, dropping the kids off at school, then going to work, staying on the highway, being on the highway for about an hour or so to reach that 9 to 5 corporate cubicle job. And at the end of the day, it's not what you expected. It's not that TV show that everybody loves. Well, they claim that everybody should love it. I don't like The Office, because office life cannot be that mundane and bland. But I can tell you straight up and down, those of us that look within ourselves to better understand ourselves within a corporate setting, do we actually feel like robots? Are we using the terminologies to express who we are? Is that your son and daughter, quote unquote, the Y generation, the wishy-washy generation? I like to call it the wishy-washy generation. You know, because when I sit down with youth and when I remember my youth and I see that they do exactly as we used to do. It doesn't matter if they're spending, bread on $300, $400, $500 sneakers. Well, then I had to learn about that. Oh, okay. So you do have, quality attire, but you know where to buy the quality attire to give off that air of success. Once upon a time when before you and I were born, jeans were factories. We're close to go to the factory and work. Levi's and stuff like that there. But now you could buy without flinching. You could buy a $300 pair of jeans, $100 t-shirt, right? And buy a $50 hat. And I'm being cheap by saying that, and then buying you a nice rope platinum, thick, real one, and feel as though you're LeBron or Jay-Z, really, really, I grew up loving the word, the spoken word of hip hop, rap. I grew up loving the sounds that were created by, the beat machine. I grew up loving the sound of music. But today's music, is it really the representation of today's youth? There's like 1,001 channels. There's like 1,001 access to podcasts, to make a long story short, and all this and that and the third. So you can finally, that person is talking what I live up to. So I follow that person's train of thought per se, and I buy into their philosophy, and I buy their merchandise. And at the end of the day, their merchandise is as good as this sweater that I have on, this $35 sweater. You understand what I'm trying to say? And as I said from the giddy up from last time, we need to more or less maintain and witness truth. You are the truth. You live your truth. But it shouldn't be a movement for the blind, deaf, and dumb. And what am I saying by that? Ignorance is bliss. It's love. It's all love. It's nice to be liberal minded, but the truth of the matter, at the end of the day, when you go home, do you go to bed hungry? Do you go to bed hungry and hunger in bed, and you think, all right, how do I make such and such to a third last till my next paycheck? Because your mind is saying, okay, at least they're taking out taxes. When tax time comes, I'll have that little tax money right there, and I could pay off certain people or go on a vacation, or pay off certain debts. But the truth of the matter is, man, how many people actually think like me? Well, sorry, but how many people actually think like that? Not too many. Because at the end of the day, right, you and your truth matters to only you. If there is a familiarity between a movement and what you're going through, and yes, okay, you have the right to protest, but I haven't seen nobody, protesting, going out there with banners and saying, yo, such and such, it's too expensive. I've been all over America. Well, I haven't seen the whole America, but I went to the big cities that I like. And I'm going to tell you straight up and down, damn, when you get used to certain cities, it's like the same city. I said it. That's right. When you get used to that city, you notice that it's almost like New York City. There's nothing like New York. Shitty. Nothing like New York. Shitty. They claim that, oh shit, Chicago is its twin. Okay, I beg to differ, but whatever, you know. But black youth are across America and the world. We're not the youth of today. They have their own way, you know. Youth of the, you know, certain youth, they don't want to be seen as black youth. Certain youth don't want to be seen as Chinese youth. Certain, you know, youth wants to be seen, yo, man, I'm young and I'm enjoying being a young person. Leave me alone. I'll graduate, you know, I'll pass this test in the third, and you know, I'll study the field that I want to be in, and I just want to do that, and leave me alone. But if you want to do that, if you're going to do that, you're also going to have to rebel towards, like, you can't rent a studio in New York without worrying about food, train, car, you know, access to your laptop, your cell phone. Everything around you is just, everything around you is driving you nuts. And that's the reason why you see so many people smoking marijuana, you know. And at the end of the day, I also agree that, well, if you're making marijuana legal, then those individuals that you've arrested and locked up for more than 5 years, more than 3 years, you're going to have to expunge those cases. Oh, yes, you will have to do that. You will have to do that. Enough is enough. You can't say one thing, then do another, and then want me to vote for you when you won't follow what you preach. Practice what you preach. That's all we're saying. Practice what you preach. Because at the end of the day, right, if you're not recognizing nor are you realizing that the RJW is cold doing it up like, on this circuit, you know, then you're not recognizing what's really popping out here. Females run the world. That's right, I said it. And I want them to continue to run the world, because at the end of the day, I'm still that man that claims the emasculation of me. And then they came up with this term, toxic masculinity. What the hell? It's the emasculation of men. You want men to, you want that touchy-feely, you know, express yourself and but you really don't want that. You really don't. You want a man. You want a man. You know why you want a man? So when you walk them streets day or night, you feel safe because you have your man by your side. Do you know that they still feel, when they find, I'm talking about females, when they finally have their apartments, do you know they still feel strange that somebody might break in and rape them and all that silliness, all that silly nonsense. So, but I want women to, well, who am I? But I'm still saying, I want to see a female president one day. You know, I want her to know the stress, because I could assume, but it might make an ass out of me. But at the end of the day, I know that job is not a job that I could handle. You know, I could watch a nice, edited, beautiful action adventure movie, and if the hero does not survive, I feel that's a terrible movie. Or, you know, the hero sacrifices himself for the betterment of the good. Okay, yeah, sure, why not? But I wanted the hero to live. So in real life, you have to do real things so you could better yourself. You know, and if Bettering yourself is renting uh, a room. You know, if you're like, well, at least if you're a person that's like in your, if you're that, well, at least this, well, at least I'm at least I got a car, or at least well at least you know, there's nothing wrong with the average person, at least, right? At least, you know, this ain't the Olympics. It's life. For some apparent reason, people still want to live in New York City. You can live in New York City. My city is not, you know, but there's other cities that's worse off than us. Haven't you noticed when you leave New York City, certain places, oh, snap, it's cheaper to live. That's right. It's cheaper to live in the Midwest. But to live in the Midwest, do I still have to watch, you know, do I still have to be conscious that they, the powers that be, still sees me as 2/3 of a human being? You know what I'm saying? Do I have to still, you know, at the, smoke a joint, you know, get blizzarded up in this piece? That's right. Say it my way. Get blizzarded, like, uh, and turn on MSNBC. Because they get annoyed. I get annoyed with MSNBC, especially what's her name, Rachel Maddow and whatnot. I get very annoyed with it. I'm like, oh man, come on, man. I just lit this up, you know. Columbia University, just like a mile and a half away from me. You know, all the so-called top brains, and you know, NYU's down all the way down by the village and whatnot. So I'm smoking my joint. We got intellectuals left and right, young intellectuals and stuff. And I'm watching this. Oh man, forget that, man. I'd rather watch some Sean Hannity. Because Sean Hannity and the rest of them, ooh, Tucker, it's like they don't give 2 cents about it. It's like they dare. Yeah, I'm talking that, you know, you want to say it, but they don't say it. What don't they say? You know, they're not preaching white supremacy. But are they? But are they? Right? You know, stimulate my imagination because I'm high. Stimulate my imagination, goddamn it. You know what I mean? Turn me on intellectually. You know, yes. Do me up, love, because I'm feeling nice right now. And then of course, boom, you're like, yeah, computer graphics, music videos, you know, Godzilla, that movie that whole movie made by what? You know, technology and all of that stuff, sci-fi has gotten incredible. So you are high and you're listening, and then all of a sudden, you know, of course they're gonna throw some sort, a political, I'm like, oh man, come on, man, it's action adventure, man. What does politics have to do with this and whatnot, man? You know, action adventure to me is, you know, law of physics and stuff. You know, the strong shall always survive. You know, ingenuity and strength. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, in the real life is what? You and your girlfriend, you and your wife joining, putting yourselves together mentally and physically to uplift you and your family to see things that nobody has seen before. Do you know how expensive it is to see a Broadway musical? It's so expensive. And then, you know, okay, so If you can't afford Broadway, let me go see one of those, up and coming stars and stuff like that there. But yes, we're coming out of something. What are we coming out of? We're coming out of it. Whoa, 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 whoa. We're coming out of it. So at the end of the day, being that we're coming out of it, and what are we coming out of? This thing. This thing. And then of course you got the big-headed nerd, you know what I'm saying? He finally has his 15 minutes of fame, but he doesn't want to get off my TV screen and still produce. But there's going to be another virus, and you have to you still have to wear. Every year you're going to have to take a shot just to be sure. Well, that's why Kyrie Irving is like, well, I could play basketball and I still didn't get my shot, and I'm still healthy. Okay, but no, we're talking about the babies, and now they got to shoot it to the babies. And I'm like, wait a minute, man. Wait a minute. Hold up, man. You're ruining my high, and I don't like that. I got a filet mignon who's about to show up at the crib within, in half an hour, and everything has to be, she needs to feel safe and I need to feel safe. You know what I'm saying? Because I know we're going to talk, and before we hit those sheets, we're going to talk that talk, because, the way I lay it down, they fall in love. Boop. The next day they want to get married. I don't, you know what I'm saying? She going to get up and cook me my favorite breakfast, and it's not just an omelet. You know what I'm saying? I like sweet potatoes. Let me be quiet. I like that Caribbean breakfast. So she's going to show up here, and, we're going to talk. Well, matter of fact, there was something between her and I that meshed. So we have something in common, and what is that? We horny as a motherfucker, boy. You know what I'm saying? Horny as a motherfucker, boy. Sure. But you have to preach it, man. You have to preach it, man. It's not fair, man. It's not fair for you to have gone through school, got your high school diploma, and you can't live off a high school education. That's not right. That's not right. You got your high school education. Now you're going to learn how to fix refrigerators and stuff like that. There, you're supposed to make a living, and if that's how you know how to make a living, well, let them pay you. You see what they did to Mario Cuomo, right? He advanced us, and that's why I will support Mario Cuomo when he comes back and says, "Yo, I'm the man, and it's time for me to do your bidding." The others cannot do what I do, cannot get the job done at the end of the day. And I agree. I totally 100% agree with that. So for those that do not understand what this show was talking about, my little rant, but I don't think it's a rant, but the philosophy of living in a corporate setting and knowing that this corporate setting right now is driving you nuts. The war is still going on, but it's still driving you nuts, right? And like I said the other day, okay, we're going to start singing again. We're going, for Ukraine. Damn, that's hard. That's hard, man. And like I told you, a young filet mignon is going to come up in the crib, and we're going to have some fun, and I hope when it's done she goes home. I said it. And if she's looking at me, she would have called me. Because I told her I be talking that talk on YouTube. You know, so recognize, realize, open up your eyes to the prize. Open up your eyes to the prize. Because nobody's ever going to give a damn about you until you show yourself that you give a damn about yourself. And then when they see you clean, smelling good, doing things right, you know what I'm saying? You're going to notice the world was not the hater. The hater was you. Hey, yo, man, recognizing and realizing what goes on is the RJW for the 21 Cent Scope Show. I'm Ghost, gone. Bye-bye. Until next time. All right. Peace. Be easy.